5:06, so I will call the January 7th regular agenda setting meeting of the Aurora City Council to order. And since we take no business at this time, no roll call is required. Just for the record, noting that Councilor McCloskey is participating via Zoom from disclosed location in Arizona. And with that, I think I can turn it over to the city administrator to have us go through our agenda meetings. I should note, by the way, the editor of the East Range Times, Kieran Kennedy, is here now, and his wife and fellow business partner, Nona, is here also. I think through some confusion, we previously addressed the legal newspaper designation at 4:30. Yes, instead of 5 o'clock. Sorry for that confusion. First of all, it'd be nice if you could introduce yourselves for the record, and maybe we could have a discussion a little bit of some of the concerns that were raised and the action that the council approved. But Kieran, could you, for the record, identify either or both of you?
Yep. So my name is Kieran Kennedy, one of the owners of the East Range Times. My wife, Nona Kennedy, is actually does most of the written on it. We both the business about, this is our third year now, and trying to improve things, improve processes, improve the process that's been going on, and just give more information to not only Aurora but all of the cities that we serve: White Lakes, Aurora, Warwick, Mackinnon, White, and Gilbert. I believe we submitted a request proposal to become the Aurora's official legal newspaper for the year. And with that, the reason for doing so was because we were aware that we were getting some of the notifications of the listings, but the idea that we had was to get all of the notifications and minutes and display adverts from the city into the local newspaper. So you would have to just go to one place instead of putting it in 400 publications. I think we submitted a request last year, but to be honest, we're not ready. This year, I feel we're in a better position to do so. I think our procedures have been improved so that we can provide you with the information you need in a timely manner and provide everybody in Aurora, all of our readers, with the information that you want to get out in one place.
And maybe just to fill in a little bit, and the councilors and the administrators would correct me if I misstate anything. We did have a discussion on the three proposals that had come in from the Hometown Focus, the Sabi Daily, and the East Range Times. And some points that were noted were not necessarily related to the appointment itself. We discussed the desire to kind of start a process to publish both draft minutes and completed minutes on our website. I believe that was one goal that the council was setting for the year. The councilors discussed the financial proposals by each of the entities, and it was noted that I think the Wasabi Daily was the lowest price option available. There was also some discussion of the experiences of some of the meeting attendees on this past practices of the East Range Times, and there was concern about the punctuality of some of the actions, the difficulties associated with that could be resolved, but in some cases, the timing of the deadlines for submission of items for publication versus the requirements of the particular business matter that for which a legal notice was being published that are necessarily associated with a weekly newspaper versus a almost daily publication of the Wasabi Daily News. And the general sentiment I took away anyway was the council felt that there should be a better demonstration during the upcoming months of business practices and associations. I think in a personal way, Councillor Hess's business, he commented on some of the matters there, and then I think the deputy clerk chimed in on some of the public matters that were dealt with. So, councillors, administrator, did I miss any points?
One thing that I'll mention is, and it's no fault, just the nature of how you guys work, is if we have a public hearing that we have to post and your deadline is Wednesday afternoon, there's a good chance we may have to wait like 2 weeks or 10 days because let's say we decide on Thursday at a council meeting that we need to get it published. We've already missed that deadline. We'd have to wait till the following Wednesday to get it in there, and then it would go in the following Sunday. So we're a little bit nervous about that too, where with Wasabi, we can get it over there right away. And that's just the way you guys work. And I don't know if there's a way we could figure out adding things later on into the week into there, if that's possible or something, but we're really nervous about the public hearings and the deadlines that you guys have to.
So I can tell you we have a deadline on Wednesday evening to allow us to complete any last minute additions to the paper.
Mm-hmm.
The paper needs to be sent out to the publishers by, I think, 1 p.m. on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So the absolute latest at this point in time, we can provide or include something would be, say, 11, 12 o'clock on Thursday morning to be included in the following Monday's publication. Unless that changes with our publisher, that would be the absolute latest. We say Wednesday evening, so we have time to put it in, but we do have up to Thursday morning for the last minute additions.
Okay, it's good to know.
Good. Yeah. So anyway, the council, in association with one of the resolutions, did approve the Wasabi Daily to continue as the legal newspaper. That's a decision that we as a council control during the course of the year. If I understand correctly, council, is there any legal restriction of changing?
Not that I know of offhand.
Okay. So I'd say, I think let's see how matters go in the months ahead, and I appreciate, first of all, I think a common sentiment that we're so elated to have the East Range Times for the local communication. It obviously has a much broader penetration rate with the members of the citizens. So as the web presence kind of creates some better opportunities for information, certainly respect and appreciate that the East Range Times is here to also provide some of the advertising, but also some of the meeting notices and things, and wouldn't want that to be lost.
Okay.
So let's keep the discussion going during the year. I think if you could kind of keep the administration informed of changes you're making internally to tighten up the business practices and things somewhat, and any publication leeway or changes that come up, that would be helpful, I think, for what the city administrator was talking about.
Okay.
So any other points the councilors, either Council Mikulášek in Arizona or councilors present, as long as we have Mr. Kennedy here?
I think you covered it all, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I think a general thought among all of us is that we really would like to see support local businesses, and it's, if we can make that work, we're more than willing to.
Okay, so good. So what I heard was over the next couple of months, just provide evidence that the business practices, business processes that we're putting in place are improving to this group here. And if anything changes in the next 12 months, then we can look at it again later in the year, maybe next year. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we stand. And again, appreciative of the services to the community. And we'll see how it could perhaps meld better on some of the issues that the city administrator was noting, in particular on timing.
And when you get a notary on staff, let us know.
Since we spoke yesterday, we're definitely going to have a notary that's on site and deal with that.
Okay.
Notarization unit, so that's already in place.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming. Sorry for the confusion of not getting you here earlier. I guess I'm glad we have this opportunity to become acquainted, to have the discussion, and continue to wish you success in the community of doing what you do. Yeah. So, good. You're welcome to stay, but not obligated. We have other matters on the agenda. Let's see, staff appearances. There's no one. Councilor Hanson is prepared to deliver the librarian's report.
She has a family athletic event, or her son, so she asked me. She said, after the holiday frenzy, we are returning to normal functioning. We hosted our first annual Jingle and Mingle event on December 14th. Had a great turnout and lots of positive feedback. Plan on doing this every year from now on. They had some representatives from EOA visit us in December to help the community with employment and training outreach. Though we did not have the amount of people we had hoped to use this resource, they're going to try again January 18th from 11 to 2. It's an opportunity for people to get help with employment. The winter reading program has started. This year's theme is Snow Better Time to Read. They have activities planned and treat bags on sign up. The program will run from January 6th to February 14th, so stop in and sign up. The library will be hosting Dennis Warner in concert on Saturday, January 18th at 11. Dennis brings a stage experience that creates a warm, welcoming, and intimate concert. This program is geared toward audiences of all ages. The project was funded in part or in whole by a grant from Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. And the computer desks and new technology is near completion. They received the desks from a grant from New Range Copper Nickel, and were able to purchase new computers and monitors to update our technology for patrons. The final updates to the computers should be complete by the end of the week, so stop in and see the new area.
I've visited, as I assume you have, and it seems to be a nice setup.
Yeah.
Thank you for Councilor McCloskey.
Councilor Hanson with New Range purchasing the technology, you may not know, but are we putting some sort of sign up there thanking them to recognize them?
That I do not know. I'll find out though. They should.
Yeah, it might be something we want to think about if we're not doing it now, just to give them the recognition for their dollars to make that happen.
Good point.
We could also authorize a letter of expressing the thanks from the library board or the council or both.
I think the library board should take their own action.
The board
bring that
meets.
back to
The board meets this Thursday,
Yeah.
so I'll bring that up.
Okay.
Bring that up,
Yep,
and then
we'll do
the city
that.
could follow
Yep.
behind the library board, just so you're not
Step on their
overstepping
toes.
them.
Well, it certainly is good to keep in mind the appreciation we have for each business entity that helps the city out in various situations, and this one in particular. So thank you, Councilor Hanson, for taking that back to them. So let's see, returning again to our agenda for this agenda setting meeting. Let's see, Administrator, any updates?
So I would like to direct it to our attorney if he has any.
Nothing, just what's going to be on the agenda tonight. Looks like a pretty busy agenda. So
Well, it's good that the city has so many things going on, I guess. So, and city engineer,
Yeah,
matters.
thank you, Mayor. A couple of things on the agenda tonight. One of the things I want to highlight, so there's a resolution for a complete streets policy. So what this is something to help support our grant applications. MnDOT defines complete streets as the means addressing the safety and access needs of users of all ages and abilities. It means considering the needs of people walking, biking, taking transit, motorists, commercial vehicles, and emergency vehicles moving along and across streets. A complete streets approach recognizes varying needs across urban, suburban, and rural settings. This in general is how we design our projects already, so it's not really changing anything. But it is a checkbox on a lot of these grant applications we're going after is do you have a complete streets policy in place? There's no follow up, right? If we check the box and come back and, well, you didn't design it to this standard, it is kind of a good faith effort. But nonetheless, we want to get this in place with a resolution so we can check that box on grant applications. It doesn't change my approach to street design. We kind of already follow this already and have been for the last 10 years. So that's that. Any questions on that?
So we haven't been necessarily penalized in the past, but this gives us just a documented item to check off on the qualification list.
100%.
Counselors, any other questions? No? All right. Thanks.
Couple other letters of support. I'm helping our neighbors, Town of White, with a AT grant. So it's active transportation. It's a funding program through MnDOT for a Scenic Acres Trail. And so it's just providing a letter of support for them as they submit that, saying, as a community, we support their application to do this. It's another good check the box when you submit these grant applications. So that's what that is. I think there's a figure in the packet that kind of shows it too. It's going to go from 135 out, basically follow the water main alignment we put in this summer. So,
well, I had a little confusion on that. The diagram seemed to have it running along 135.
That's phase 2.
That's phase 2.
Phase 2. Yellow is the phase 1.
All right, so that's the portion that literally
Correct.
goes to City Acres Road. Okay.
Correct. And actually the figure that I sent you is slightly off. We show going across Embarrass Lake with phase 1. We're actually stopping short of the actual lake crossing. So yeah, that would be through the AT program. We were looking at similar potential projects for the city for that, specifically the street realignment on 3rd Street, but on here is a Safe Routes to School grant application letter of support from the council, and so that's the better program for that project. Typically, you wouldn't double up those funding sources, and so we're choosing to pursue the Safe Routes to School just because we have a more competitive application. There's more eligible items in the project that would be fundable, so we just more juice out of the turnip, if you will, going after that program.
That if the funding comes through and everything would be pursued, though, connection with the Highway 100 street reconstruction, or
It would be
separate,
standalone project.
standalone.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So the Safe Routes to School funds, I believe, are federal funds, and so we wouldn't want to federalize that whole project.
No.
Mr. Lund would not be happy with us.
No.
Federal environmental reviews on top of state ones.
Yes. It is a small enough project. If we were fortunate enough to get the funds, the environmental process, I think, would go pretty quick. MnDOT has a process for smaller projects like that to kind of check the box a little quicker. So.
Good.
Can I chat on that with you, Josh? Real quick, the school board has approved a letter of support last night, and you're all aware that we had two proposals on there. There was a roundabout and there was a two-way street, and they approved a letter of support with the two-way street. So that's what will be in our application. It will be almost like what you see now. And if we don't get the funds, then we'll just reevaluate next year and see. So that is what would be in our grant application ask. That's the letter of support that you're approving. Mm-hmm.
So that project could actually move faster than the Highway 100? Or?
It likely could occur concurrently. If we got the funds, I would push to do 2027 construction just because of all the chaos we'll have going on already. But we'll cross that bridge.
Organized
together.
chaos.
Yes. So, and it's fine that they didn't support the roundabout. I think we still have a strong application with the realignment. So
we'll still close down Railroad and move it to 3rd and run it straight through. But 3rd Street then would be the straight.
Yep.
And then the steel shed that's there would get demolished and kind of run right through there. And then we work with Bradish on their land and maybe we do some land swapping with them or something. But so
the city attorney, do I recall correctly, there was some real confusion on who owns that metal shed area?
I remember Mike Patchen was working on that issue. The outcome I can't recall offhand.
Yeah.
it's the school now. It's been cleaned up.
It's been cleaned up? Oh, excellent. All right.
couple other updates. I think everyone's probably drove by and seen they're putting up some wall panels at the industrial park, so we're well underway, and I think by the end of the month they said they'd have it completely enclosed.
I don't know about the roof, but all
Yeah,
four walls.
yep, all four
Yep.
walls, and then from there they'll start putting the roof on. So progress abound, and then they're still anticipating completion of everything by end of August.
So it'd be ready for occupancy then at the end of
I think
August?
so, the way I understand it. So
So,
We're having a meeting on keys in a couple weeks, so
yeah, I saw that.
that means something.
Getting a little ahead of ourselves. It seems.
You know?
I know of one potential additional thing that's in the works too. That
Sure.
gives reason for hope. Yeah.
West 3rd Avenue Alley. So that bid advertisement went live today. I believe the bid opening for that will be, or no, I'm sorry. Excuse me. The Canute Drive Utility Project advertisement went live today. The bid opening is January 29th, Wednesday. I think it's at 9:30 a.m. So we have to advertise for a 3-week window minimum. I always go an extra day just to make sure we check the box. But so that's on the market, and hopefully we get good competitive bids. We're early to the game, or earlier than most probably, so that's good. And that usually results in more competitive bids. So. Next week on Tuesday at the community center, we're doing an informational meeting for the 3rd Avenue Alley reconstruction project. So we have the public hearing coming up on the 21st, and so I like to do an informational meeting before and flush out any grievances or concerns, and hopefully keep the actual public hearing as short as we possibly can.
What time is that?
5:30.
That's what day?
Next Tuesday. Yep.
Okay, that's
So
what is today?
Let's see.
Seven?
Today is the 7th, so
14.
it'd be the 14th.
There's a blood drive that day, but they will be done and out of there by then. We've squared all that up. So when you see them in the parking lot, do not get nervous.
So I use that as, that's the time to dig into the details with people and answer a lot of their questions. And I'll have the assessment roll with their costs and really go through the nitty gritty of it. And then I like to come to the hearing, and it's a more truncated version to go through things.
So we would have to give notice of that potential quorum, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming I would go out of curiosity. I don't know other counselors. Yeah. So we'll just make a note with the deputy clerk about that. Other matters?
West First Avenue. So we have coordinated with the Department of Health as far as utilizing those additional grant funds that we were fortunate enough to receive. Everything seems to be aligning there to move forward with some additional scope. So looking at developing additional scope of work for the council to take that to final design. So should see that in the next meeting or two.
Then we have a public hearing right on the assessment policy that might pertain to that.
That would be future public hearings for assessments on the First Avenue.
I thought there was one scheduled later on this month.
Yes, there's a public hearing on the 21st for the alley project.
Oh, for the alley.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're going to do an informational one first.
Yes.
And then we'll do
the assessment on that, but
Yep.
that's separate from the First
Yes.
Avenue.
First Avenue is the county combined project. So
That's in an effort to be more transparent, to give more time, to give them more information.
Yep.
So
All right.
we're trying to do our due diligence by beginning a public information meeting before the actual public hearing.
Okay, good.
that's all I had for you, Mayor.
That's good. It's 5:30. So
5:30, city administrator, or anything to sneak in under the wire?
no, we'll just take care of the rest in the agenda. Yep.
All right. So appropriate to entertain a motion to adjourn the agenda setting meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll make that
Motion
motion.
moved by Councilor Doty. I'll second it. Supported by Councilor Hess. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those.
Doty?
Note on the roll call?
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. We stand adjourned for a minute or so. Well, and, I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Aurora City Council of Tuesday, January 7th. We're meeting here at City Hall. Councilor McClosich is participating remotely via Zoom pursuant to the prior public notice that was given of his location in Arizona. And I'll therefore call the meeting to order, and can we have a roll call?
Yes. Doty.
Here.
McClosich.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Hess.
Here.
Gregor.
Here. Councilor Clausage, by statute, is able to participate remotely, and Councilor Godey, are you?
Oh, no.
Pledge of allegiance.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you might be leaving there.
Usually it takes me a long time to stand up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving on to, appreciate that there are some labors there. Yeah, so, let's see, moving on to the prepared agenda, we have agenda item number 4 is the consent agenda. This is the portion of the agenda at which we can one time approve a number of the items otherwise printed in the agenda that are designated for the public's benefit by asterisks. And the first item related to that is, does any counselor have any particular matter on the consent agenda they'd like removed from the consent agenda for separate action? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the... I'm sorry.
Comment. Oh, I just want to point out number 9, travel and training requests, Richard Craven. I want to commend him. He's worked here for almost a little over a year now, but he's eligible to take his water and wastewater licensure, and that's what he's doing. He's going down to St. Cloud to take his first test. He's knocked it out of the park. He's been a phenomenal employee, and it's really, I think it's pretty awesome that he's been here and he's learning a new trade and he's wanting to go in and start getting his licensure. So you'll see him again request another training shortly, and that will be for his wastewater. We send him to these refresher exams, and then so you'll see him come up a couple times for training.
And for the public's benefit, those licensures are precious.
They are,
and add considerable value right to our operations, and certain beneficial effects to those around us, the communities that they sometimes assist in some ways.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, yeah, kudos to the employee.
Yep.
Let's see, any other discussion on the motion? If not, can we have a roll call vote, please?
I'm sorry, did I miss the
Motion. I move we approve the consent agenda.
and then support it?
I'll second it.
I thought that had been moved. And seconded,
No.
but, we've dealt with a number of matters here this evening. So, all right, thank you for clearing that up on the record. Could we now see any more discussion? No more discussion on the motion. Then could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Doty.
Yes.
McClosich.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Hess.
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. All right, the consent agenda then is approved. Moving on to the next matter, appearances. Mr. Segler, do you have anything you'd wish to share with the council? All right, no. And there are no other appearances online? Or?
Nope, nobody online. Josh did for reports from staff have something else.
All right.
Yeah. You'll probably hear it through the grapevine, but as of January 1st, we've merged with Benchmark Engineering. So Alan and his team are now a part of Open Link and bring a lot of good things to the table. So I just wanted you to hear it first from me instead of through the grapevine.
So they have facilities in the Mountain Iron? Are those going to continue?
Yep. So their office in Mount Iron will continue to operate. We have no plans to close that location. And then, as far as I know, so far they've maintained most of their existing client base as well. So
Good. Congratulations.
yeah, it's exciting times.
Yep.
So he brings a lot to the table. He's been an awesome partner. Their values align with ours, so it's been really easy.
Yeah, I was working with him more than a decade ago, and but he was kind of getting initiated there. So I'm sure he has a lot of experience under his belt to bring to the operations there. So congratulations again to the company. Any other leftover reports from staff members, city administrator?
Nope.
All right. So moving on then, to agenda item 14, reports from counselors. I think we start first with Councilor Godey.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the fire department for the wonderful job they did last year. Again, they had 46 fire calls they responded to and 168 medical calls that they responded to. They're a very important part of our community, and those aren't scheduled. It's not always convenient, but they show up. So that's the only committee I wanted to talk about tonight. So that's it.
Thanks for your work with them. Yeah, it's interesting to me. I was driving past one of the sirens that is located on Erie, and I don't think we've had a siren go off in a few years, have we?
No, they do it all on the radios now.
Yeah. Interesting change of technology. So I suppose that's available under certain circumstances for.
We test them for emergency warning now, for tornadoes, climate weather, things like that.
Right, yeah.
I remember the 4th of July parade when it was in the middle of the parade and that thing went off. And the fire department was in the parade and we had to get out of it. So,
yes.
yeah, they've upgraded technology now.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Councilor Godey. Councilor Hanson?
Nothing to add to the librarian's report.
Okay. Councilor Kolasic?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Administrator Luke and Adolf Peterson for putting together a warming shack this winter. I know last winter Luke took some hits because we didn't have one. We didn't have any ice either because it was too warm. But anyway, and I'd also like to report that as I was driving by it many times before I left, at one point there were over 20 people skating on the ice. So our individual who's running that operation is doing a fabulous job, as did Luke. And Luke, we should probably get something off to Adolf Peterson to thank them for that. Maybe we've already done that.
We have not yet. And I'm kind of trying to figure out I suppose we could do it multiple times because they're going to donate time. And we had an industrial park meeting today and we chatted about trying to do a kickoff for that, getting the shovel on the ground. And we could send them a thank you for that and then also another one later. So that would be appropriate.
Okay, whatever works for you, but I think they did a great job, you did a great job, and the community is using this.
So would that be a matter that the council should authorize me to issue a thank you as the mayor?
If you guys feel that's appropriate.
Would it seem like an appropriate way to proceed? Is there a motion to authorize me to send that thank you letter?
I'll make that.
I'll make that.
Okay, it's moved by Councilor McClassic and supported by Councilor Hess. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please respond to the roll call.
Godey,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. All right, so that passes unanimously. All right, so let's see, I believe we had a few reports. So are you finished with your report? Okay, Councilor Hess.
The only thing I got to say, it's kind of nice when you drive out of town today and tonight when I counted, there's 15 panels up already on that spec building. I thought that looked interesting. So
Yeah.
now people will get an idea where it's going to be and what it's going to be. So I would think a couple of weeks it should be all enclosed in. So
Should be a lot of instant gratification coming in the next couple of weeks.
Well, it's good to comment upon it in many respects for the public that might be watching or otherwise monitoring. I'm sure there's curiosity, but not always knowledge of what's going on. So it's nice to see such concrete evidence of the progress there. So, does that complete your comments? Councilor Hess and Councilor McCloskey did comment, right? Yep. All right. So moving on to agenda item 15, which is a report from the mayor, and uncustomary for me, I was sick most of the time since the last meeting, missed most public meetings and responsibilities, so I'll just wish the council and the community success in the year ahead there. Moving on to old business, we have
Mayor, I got a question
Oh.
for you, because you're on the water board.
Yes.
When they announced that grant on TV, they said it's in various Pit. It's always been known as Lake Mine Pit, so I'm getting confused here.
I think we're talking about the same body of water with some different names, and some of the media, while appreciated, that making people aware of it, it seemed somewhat tardy, and there was some additional facts about that that could be clarified. I think it was the media response was triggered by the Public Facilities Authority's actions, right, to approve some $24 million of state funding that was a combination of a loan for that water project, but also for the wastewater project, right?
No, that was just strictly.
It was strictly, okay, then they were approving the other elements of that. So
I'll just say, locally we know it as Lake Mine, but officially on the DNR it's called the Embarrassed Pit. So that's why we call it two different
Yeah, I'm
things.
just wondering.
Yeah.
well, I think your inquiry is very helpful for anyone that's watching to help clarify that issue. So thank you for that. So now getting back to the agenda under old business, we have a personnel matter relating to the administrator's employment agreement, and pursuant to Minnesota statutes 13D.03, I think we move into a counselor. How do we
Why don't
Go into closed session and
Why
state.
don't we move that to the end of the meeting?
Mhm.
Yeah, that might be more convenient.
And then you can close it down for both that one and the 49ers
Right.
contract.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll
Need a
defer that
motion
to
To
later
move
on.
16.1 to after 17.10.
Okay. So that's a motion?
Yeah.
All right, support?
I'll support it.
Supported by Councilor Hanson. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, wait, roll call.
Let's try roll call.
Old dogs are slow at learning new tricks.
Okay. Godey,
Yes.
Klosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. All right, so that is moved on the agenda. Moving then to agenda item 17, new business. 17.1 is proposed resolution 2025-04 about a street vacation. And we have a proposed resolution in our packet, but City Administrator, do you want to explain it?
Yeah. Thankfully, there is a couple who purchased this property. It's actually 307 South 6th Street East, which means Councilor Godey's getting some neighbors. They're going to build a house down there. And we have it's actually platted as a street, but there's not anything there other than trees. We won't do anything with that because of the topography and how it is. So there's really no benefit to us with that area. What we're going to possibly do with your approval is have surveyors mark out a line down there. We would vacate the portion that's a street, and then they would purchase it from us, and they would use that as an entrance to their driveway. So they would pay taxes on it. They would own it. We won't incur any cost. The sale of the property would be the cost of the surveying and the conveying it over and whatnot. So it would be zero for us cost, but they would own it.
Be on the tax rolls.
Be on the tax roll. Yep.
Yep.
So if anyone's got any questions, that's where it is. It's in the
And
southeast.
then
corner.
the remaining portion of the platted roadway would still be available for access to the city-owned lands.
Yeah, we're only going to do just the sliver that's by their property. That's a good question and a good point. We're just going to do the sliver that's by their property. The rest that runs by the park in there, that'll stay as ours. So we're not going to get rid of that.
The part that comes off, what, third, fourth,
Yes. Yep.
that would stay the same.
That would stay the same. That's all going to stay the same. Although, and there's that big hill that's kind of back in there. That's kind of where we'll make sure we're keeping that, because that we could use. But the other side, on the other side, it kind of curves down and around. It's not anything we would use. So
We'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2025-4 for vacation of Linden Drive.
All right, is there support for that?
I'll support it.
I'll
Supported by
support that.
moved by Councilor Hess, supported by Councilor McCloskey. Any further discussion or question? If not, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Doty,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. Moving to agenda item 17.2 is proposed. Agenda item 17.2 dealing with the Complete Streets program and process that was addressed in our earlier agenda setting meeting by the city engineer. Is there a motion to approve the proposed resolution?
We approve the proposed resolution 2025-05.
Moved by Councillor Hess, supported by,
I'll support that.
Hanson, I'm sorry. I'm so used to your making the motions. By Councillor Hanson and supported by Councillor Godey. All right, any further questions, as long as the city engineer is here, anything related to that policy? All right, if not, could we have a roll call vote on the proposed resolution?
Doty,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes, that passes unanimously. Moving on to agenda item 17.3. This is a letter of support for the active transportation grant application that's related to support of the trail on Scenic Acres Road that the city engineer addressed earlier. And this would be a motion to authorize the issuance of this letter of support. So is
I'll
there,
make that motion to support the letter of support for the transportation grant.
all right. Councillor McCloskey has moved approval. Is there
Supported.
and supported by Councillor Hanson. Any further discussion? If not, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Doty,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yeah.
Gregor.
Yes. Unanimously passed. Moving on to 17.4, a letter of support for the Safe Routes to School grant application that also was addressed in our earlier agenda setting meeting that relates to the potential changes in the intersection near the school there, near the Bradish Lumber Company and the school where they intersect. Is there a motion to support, issue that letter of support?
I'll make a motion to.
Moved by Councillor Hess, supported by
I'll support that.
Councillor Godey. Any discussion or questions? If not, we'll call a vote, please.
Doty,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes, passes unanimously. Now, 17.5, I don't believe there are any materials.
There was, they just came out a little bit later in the packet today. So they came electronically, I believe.
Okay.
But I will pull them. I will pull them up for you.
Yeah, if you can just explain a little bit about that.
I want to get the correct dollar amounts here for you. Essentially what it is as you know now, the last 2 years we've done a financial management plan with Ellers. And now that it's in place, this is kind of the bones for a lot of our decision making for our projects, for our tax levy, for things of that nature. We also did a wastewater rate study with them, which proved very fruitful. It showed us what to do for setting our wastewater rates for the foreseeable future. Again, it looks about a decade into the future for us. What we have not done yet is we have not done one specifically for Aurora for its water rates. So this is separate from what we've been doing with Drowns and Associates, where they're kind of looking at the overall for the entire system. This actually dives into what is our cash account, what is our debt, what is our reserves, what is our projects. They're going to look at all of our projects and things of that nature. So it'll be a much more deep dive into that. And then hopefully by the time that's done, we'll be able to use that to figure out what we want to set our rates at, or are we okay for our water rates and things like that. I would compare this to the city of Point Lakes. Like when they come on board here, even though we've done a rate study with David Drowns, they're going to need to look at their own cash balance, their own debt, their own projects and things like that. The water board's not going to pay for, right? They're going to want to set their rates for their customer. We want to set the rates for our customer. So that's what that is. The cost for that study, and the reason they're both on the same proposal is because they gave them to me individually, and I thought the costs were a little inflated from what I've seen. And they came back with the last ones that we've done. We've always kind of done them concurrently, so there's economy of scale on savings as they come up and propose and do things like that. So I asked them to go back and do that again, because there's no reason that we couldn't do the water rate study at the same time doing the financial management plan. And they did shave off quite a few thousands of dollars. So what we'd be proposing is approving the financial management plan for 2025. This is working with us throughout the year. It's a cost of $8,555. That translates into 29 hours at their 2025 hourly rate of $295. And it's consistent with the previously proposal that they've done. That's not to exceed. So if we do it quicker, or if we, it'll be less than that. The water rate study would be $11,210. That's 38 hours at the same $295 per hour. And again, that's not to exceed, so it could potentially be less than that as well. They would come up and pitch the proposals together, so we're seeing a cost savings there. I would propose that the $11,210 comes out of the 2025 water rate increases that we did. That's specifically for the water plant, so we can use those funds to pay for that. I think it's going to be extremely beneficial to have that with the wastewater rate study, with financial management plan. And this is just,
Yeah, it's nice the way that this will essentially set the table for the more informed discussion of the ultimate merger, hopefully, of White Lakes and Town of White and Aurora in the water project itself, which then will have its independent study, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, it sounds like a very prudent course of action. So,
I wondered, in part of this, it says that they'll look at the capital improvement plans. Will that take into account the existing system, like age and quality and
So what they
things?
will do is exactly what we did with the wastewater one. Is so they look at Josh can attest to this too, but they look at our 10-year facility, our 10-year capital improvement plan, and they'll take First Avenue into account. They'll take the alley. Well, there's no water in that one, but they'll take the water plant. They'll take all of our projects and they'll look at what we need for funding for that, and they'll look at our reserve balance. They'll look at our cash balance, and they'll say, "You guys are sitting very good. You don't need to raise anything, or you guys need to over 10 years, raise it up like this." They won't look at like our infrastructure age and recommend replacement. That's more of what Josh and I would do, and our utility superintendent. We'll take care of that stuff. We put that into the capital improvement plan, and then they look at the capital.
That's factored in, though.
That's factored in,
Okay.
absolutely.
That was my question.
Yep, it's all factored in. Yep. And again, it's all of the projects, right? So it's going to show everything that we want to do, and we just scale it back from there if it's too expensive. So
yeah, just if the public's listening on that point, the water project is not intending to go into and replace the administrative or financial responsibilities for the distribution centers within, like the city. It will be simply providing a new source of water to the distribution system that's already in place in the city, right? So, so they're related, but two separate pots of money, everything else. So, all right. With that explanation, I'm sorry, the council closet.
On those studies, the water study that we're anticipating will be good for probably close to 10 years, like the wastewater one, correct?
Yep. Yes, sir. Yep.
They will be doing it annually.
I don't think we would be doing these annually. And the other thing is once these are put in and the figures are all put into place, I would expect the cost for a refresher to come down significantly, right? It takes them a long time to put the models into place, put it in, but once it's there, then it's just a matter of just punching some different, so we could look at it, but I don't know that would be necessary.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking at it annually. I just wanted to see how long this would last, but I get it. So thanks.
Yep. Good
I
question.
assume too, the Bolton Bank geographic information system data that was previously done and authorized will dovetail very nicely into the resources that Ehlers can then take, right, to do their work.
So our capital improvement plan broke down. So First Avenue, we have a street cost, a sewer cost, and a water cost. And so on the sewer rate study, they took all of the sewer costs across all those projects, plugged it into their financial model. They're going to do the same thing now with the water cost on the same projects.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's good engineering and administrative work, I think, to lay the groundwork there. All right, with those explanations, we're still on agenda item 17.5. Is there a motion to accept the proposal of Ehlers to perform those services?
I move we accept the proposal, have it studied.
Yeah, moved by Councillor Hanson, support?
A second.
Supported by Councillor Hess. And any further discussion? If not, I'll roll call, please.
Yeah. Doty,
Yes.
McClousich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes, that passes unanimously. Moving on to agenda item 17.6, the proposed resolution 2025-06, which deals with the setting in motion the implementation of ordinance number 109 dealing with the gas franchise fee arrangements. I think we haven't had, have we, city administrator, a previous franchise agreement essentially with the gas company. So this would be catching up on old business, right?
Yep.
So is there a motion to approve the proposed resolution 2025-06?
Hey, Mayor, before we go into motions, can I say something on this?
Usually you do the motion and
Then
the
discussion.
second, and then
Yeah.
once it's,
All right.
All right, can
Right.
we go ahead
Go to
and
discussion.
see if there's a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve feasibility study
Okay, motion.
for resolution 2025-6.
Councillor Hess has moved adoption of the proposed resolution. Is there support?
I'll support that.
Supported by Councillor Godey. Now, Councillor McClassic, comments.
Yeah. As you stated, we haven't had a gas franchise fee in the past. When I took a look at the Ehlers document that they put together on the franchise fees, currently we have 895 residents who are on the electric fee, which makes sense because everybody has electricity. They looked at the gas customer base, and it would be about 687 customers in Aurora. So that would represent about 76% of the residents have gas, 24% don't. So if this were to pass, 24% of the households in the city of Aurora would be participating in this fee. So they would, not be paying into this. With our current budget, in a positive spot and our reserves strong, I just don't think this is the right time to put on a gas franchise fee because it's not going to impact everybody. It's just going to impact 76% of the residents, 24% aren't. And then on top of that, as we talked about our street and infrastructure improvements, some of those folks that are going to get the gas fee are also potentially going to have assessments put on their property. So I just wanted to, kind of put some facts out there and indicate that, when a roll call comes, I'm not in favor of this, but those are some of my thoughts as far as why I think we should use or have a gas franchise fee at this time.
Thank you.
We discussed this when we were setting the levy, and we agreed to lower the levy 1% more to allow for this gas franchise fee. At that time, we were all in agreement. Isn't that correct? Yeah.
Well, there was no vote on it. I mean,
No,
I didn't say
no.
anything that I was in agreement with.
It was just a background consideration, I think, when we were taking the
We
vote.
lowered the levy 1% with intention to put this gas fee on. That was the discussion.
Yeah, I
Well, that
remember.
was the discussion, but I didn't participate as far as saying I agreed with it.
No, I think it was one of the considerations that went into our overall decision going into.
The only thing this resolution is doing is getting a study, right?
No, this is actually I'm putting the gas fee on.
Because it says study here.
$4 a month for.
The exhibit A is attached to the bottom side of it, so it shows the fee schedule on the bottom. So it'd be $3 a month for residential.
Oh,
Well, I think another thing we considered along with the lowering the levy was the fact that most property taxes have gone down, right, or lower this year. And that
Due to the state.
if we were going to do this, this would be the opportune time.
If I can refresh just for background information for the public who's listening and whatnot too, maybe to attend the elders proposal too. The way that it was proposed is that the gas fees and the electric fee would be used to offset assessments. That's the intent of raising it. So it would potentially, currently our policy is capped at $8,000. That's our assessment policy. By approving this, you would potentially lower those assessments to about $6,000. So the franchise fees would be used to offset it. If you didn't, then we just wouldn't have the revenue to offset the assessments, and they would just be assessed the $8,000. So that was the intent of what we're doing with that. And it was brought up because we have so many projects that are going to be going on right now. And the intent was, I should say, speaking on Councillor Godey's behalf for him, I guess, but what he was getting at is that the 1% was going to hit the higher tax people more, or this would come down. It would come down and help that. It would bring that 1% levy point down. Everybody kind of helps out. If you don't, alternatively, if you wanted to not put the gas in because there's only 687 customers, you could just keep the gas out of there, and you could just put all of the funds on the electric, and then you'd have 895 customers, and then everybody's paying it. That could be a good compromise. There's also that, but ultimately it's your guys' decision. But that was the intent. The intent was that it was going to help the assessment role when we do that.
Excuse me, I'm asked, hey Dan, so every year when you have the budget, you're gonna lower it 1% because of the fee.
Well, this fee could help us in the future keep the levy lower. It's not a guarantee.
Okay, but the way you said it, we dropped it 1%
This
because of the fee.
At the meeting.
So next year, if you raised it 5%, you would say, let's lower it to 4%.
No, that's
Well, that's the
not.
way I got from you.
What I said at the meeting, we discussed that we were gonna have the levy at 4% this year. And then we just talked about, let's set it at 3 and start the gas franchise fee, which would help us in the future and possibly allow us to keep the levy lower, but it doesn't automatically mean a point off every year.
Well, I guess it would keep it lower in the sense that if you put it at, instead of 4% this year, it's at 3, and then next year if you raise it from 3, you're raising it from that 3% rather than the 4.
Right.
So it would forever keep that down. In theory.
Am I correct to say that the money raised from a franchise fee doesn't have to be designated into any one?
Correct. Franchise fee funds can be used for anything. So at any point in time, we could say we're not going to do projects anymore, or we don't have any projects this year, or we just lost local government aid, and we could take the franchise fees and move it over and use it to offset it completely. They're the one fund that you can use across the board and wherever you want to put them in. And you have to do that by your board, of course, but they're a tool to use for that.
So it's like a cushion with a lot of flexibility going on. It's interesting. The initial thoughts were that it could help lower or eliminate some assessments, right? That otherwise would be boring. So the general population, or at least in this case, the gas customers would be subsidizing the properties that otherwise would be assessed at a higher rate.
Yeah, essentially what Ellers has said is it's a savings account that you're going to take the franchise fee money and put it into it. And then when we're doing these projects, we would take that money and rather than having the assessments at $8,000, it would bring it down to about $6,000. And again, I don't want to use hard numbers, right? Because every project is different. But just speaking in very general terms, you could potentially save about $2,000 on each assessment roll. So even though somebody's paying a gas or electric franchise fee and it's not a project, once it gets to your area and the assessments come in, then you'd be benefiting from it. So,
Well, and when you look at the rate schedule, one large consumer, be it gas or electric, is charged at roughly 8 times the monthly amount. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 8. So it would be the same as 8 individual homes.
Yeah.
One resident at $3. So we if we can't compare numbers necessarily.
It doesn't cover everyone, but it's, in my opinion, a fairer way to spread the fees out evenly amongst the Aurora citizens, rather than, if we wouldn't have talked about putting this on, I would have not agreed to lower the levy one more point. And that hits the more expensive homeowners unfairly higher.
Just
And I support the $1 increase on the electric fee that's in this packet, because that does impact, it does hit all customers within Aurora. I mean, the problem I have, Dan, with this is the 24% of the people that won't be participating in the gas side because they don't have gas.
alternatively, then you could not do any of the gas and you could just put the $4 increase on the electric. Alternatively, that's up to your discussion, but that would hit everybody.
if the
The proposed
amount of the increase would be more conspicuous. Right?
the proposed increase was $3 on gas and $1. And I guess for the public's information as well, that was done off a study off of all of the towns that are doing franchises in the median. So we're not the highest and we're not the lowest. We're sitting in the middle there.
The other factor, if I recall from the previous discussions, are that even tax exempt properties, right, that are utilizing these services, will be participating in the payment of them, whereas they don't with the real property taxes.
And as I was saying, generally, at least in most cases, the tax exempt properties are generally larger users. So they would pay a larger amount than a resident.
Out of curiosity, I assume that the industrial park occupants will be using gas.
They would be, yep. And they're the only, when you see the large user on there, they're really the only large user that
Does the school fall in there?
So when we do the study, we reach out to the gas company. They provide the number of users that are in there. They don't tell us who they are, so we don't really know who's who. We don't have a large user right now, so I'm guessing that the school would not be. They might be the tier 4 than that. They don't provide that information. They just provide the number at each level.
So we don't have anybody that's in 3, 4, and 5 then? They're all the same rate?
For the gas,
Yeah.
there was a few in like 2, 3, and 4, I believe, but there wasn't anybody in
Okay,
5.
all right.
Interesting.
So it's based on the volume of gas that you're using. So ultimately, again, for what we were intending to use it for, it was just for the assessments. If you guys don't approve it, we just assess a little bit more on the projects. You guys can choose to do whatever you'd like to do, whether it's electric or gas or how much or whatever, all for your consideration.
So in other words, if our LGA got a cut, we could pull that into that.
Good. Yeah, good.
I think the franchise fee, even though it doesn't cover everyone, spreads that cost out through the whole city rather than, like you said, assess the people that are having a project done higher. That's even putting a bigger burden on a smaller number of people. This gives you money to help ease that. It just seems fair to spread a cost throughout the city.
All right. I think we've had a good, healthy discussion here. Let's see. I can't recall. Did we have a motion
I
to?
made a motion.
Or it's been moved and
I think-
supported.
I think Bob seconded it, didn't he?
All right. Any further discussion, comments? All right. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Godey,
Yes.
Klausich,
No.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes,
Gregor.
Yes. All right. So 4-1 vote. The motion or the adoption of the resolution passes. Moving on to 17.7. Proposed resolution 2025-07 deals with a comparable issue on the electric franchise fees. Any comments unique to that, or?
Yep. Again, we already have an electric, and as Councilor McClosich stated, there's about 895 residents that are on it. That's residential. There's a $3 a month fee for that. This increase was proposed just $1 for this. So it's just basically increasing the fee schedule for that $1.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-7 for electric franchise fees.
Moved by Councilor Hess.
Well, I'll support that one.
Councilor Clausage eagerly supports that one. So,
Well, I wouldn't say equally because it's $1 fee, but I will support that one because it hits all of the customers.
I was just going with the tenor of your comments there. So we have a motion on the table. It's been supported. Further discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Godey,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes,
Gregor.
Yes. So that's adopted unanimously. Moving on to 17.8.
One thing before we get into that, I will say that it does take 90 to 120 days to implement them, so there won't be any revenues on this. It'll take a good amount of time before we get them. But I would imagine receiving funds before the alley project is done. Just time all that together.
It's good. Animal license one-time exemption. I don't believe I had any materials in the version.
Yep, there is not for this. Essentially what this is when we approved the animal fees to go to $25 per fee. It's a 3-year or 2-year, it depends on the length of your rabies vaccination. There's a window there where people who now have to get their rabies and their animal license renewed, but their expiration date is maybe June or July or August later this year. So our intent is not to double dip on this and get them to pay now and then also pay later. So what we're looking for is you guys to consider just kind of giving them an exemption to get through to their rabies vaccination, and then they can pay the $25 fee, if that makes sense. We don't want to give them 2 fees because everyone's animal licenses are due January. But if you've got a rabies vaccination that's due in September, well, technically you should pay now and you should pay later. So we're just going to give them.
They get an extension essentially in their existing license.
Correct. Yep. That makes sense.
Is there a cutoff on how far you'll extend it if their rabies license has 18 months left?
It'd say the year. So if they got 18 months left, they would pay for this year and then they would come back next year. So it would just be a one-time exemption for 2025. For anybody who's expiring in 2025.
In 2025.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, is there, this can be done by motion, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the proposed one-time period of exemption?
Yeah, I move we approve the one-time exemption.
All right, moved by Councilor Hanson. Is there support?
I'll support it.
Supported by Councilor Godey. Councilor McClausage, any questions or anything on that?
No, I'm good.
All right. Any other comments or discussion? If not, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Godey,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
yes.
Gregor.
Yes. The motion passes unanimously. And let's see, I believe 17.9 and 16.1, which was deferred to the following would be probably best taken up at the same time.
Yeah, we could do them both
All
at
right,
the same time.
All right, so then just before we go into that closed meeting, are there any other matters under 1710 or 1710.1 is a letter of support, right, for the St. Louis County Trail Project?
There is.
For the sidewalk to the hospital.
Yep. So there's a couple things we need to chat about. Number one is the letter of support for the St. Louis County Trail Project. They would like to put a walking path from essentially the Holiday Station to the White Community. Well, no, it's Essentia. Actually, I'm aging myself here. To Essentia, and they're just looking for that same trail grant, a letter of support supporting the trail if they can get the grant for that. So we need a motion and
That wouldn't interfere with the water line to White Lakes?
no. Okay, no.
This is something they've been working on for years.
And in fact, the one that's in the packet is the letter that we approved last year. And what they did is they asked for it after the meeting. So I signed the letter and we sent it off. But this year we've got time to put it in under others. So Mayor Gregor can sign it. We can get it there. So
I'll make a motion to send a letter of support for sidewalk to Northern Plains.
I'll support that.
All right, moved by Councilor Hess, supported by Councilor Hanson. Anyone have any questions on the intent there? If not, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Doty,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously, unless there's any other.
There is. And I know I've talked to a couple of you and you're looking at being out of town Friday or leaving early Friday. As our attorney can attest, the county does reject a lot of paperwork when you send it in. They're very specific on what we need. So not once, but twice, we've had our paperwork rejected on the transfer of sale of the property to the EDA for the industrial park. So it is a pressing issue that we set a special meeting. I was hoping to do it Friday morning because that's the earliest we could do it. If we could get you all there, basically it's a resolution that would convey the property to the EDA, and then we could get that resolution signed and off, and then hopefully start receiving some of those funds. So it's a funding there, and there's also an Iron Range Culture and Tourism grant that we'll be applying for. So we could do a resolution there to apply for and accept funds for that, because that opens on the 15th. So we won't have time on the 21st to get it in. So hopefully we could do a quick meeting there if there's enough of you. If not, we could potentially push it off till Monday.
What time?
Whatever works for you guys.
Friday I can make anything work.
Friday morning, I could make it work.
I'm open.
Okay, so we have three that, and you're open also, connected with Ozzy? Yeah. I could do it in the afternoon, but not in the morning. Yeah. So
Yeah, good in the afternoon.
Oh, I can do it either, but
Councilor Kolosich, what's your availability?
What's yours, Lou?
I'm open on Friday, it doesn't matter.
I have a meeting at 9, but we could do this right away at 9 because I know you wanted to get moving. Would that work? Would that work for you on your time zone, Councilor McClosich?
That's pretty.
That's pretty
For a
early.
vacationer, that might be.
Do it.
It's 8 o'clock there.
No!
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work.
Or I don't. Is 10
That'll be
o'clock work for
my
you?
time.
That's getting a
A
little,
little late.
yeah.
So
Well,
9.
if I'm the only one, you still would have a quorum, right? In the afternoon.
Yeah, we could do afternoon too, depending on when you wanted to do that.
Make a difference to me.
Well, I can participate at 1 or after, but I've got another.
You want to do it at 1?
If we could do it, yeah.
And then we'll have a quorum and you can be
And I'll be participating by Zoom.
You okay with that?
Yep.
So would that work better for you, Councilman McClosich?
So then you-
1 o'clock?
Yeah, because the library opens at 8, that was my
You
own
should
concern,
share
but
that.
noon works. I mean, it's gonna be noon my time, one
By Zoom.
Okay.
Oh,
All right, we'll look to do that at 1 o'clock on Friday.
Alrighty.
Do we need a motion to do that?
Yeah, do a motion setting that special meeting with the 2 agenda items.
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Councilor Hess, supported by Councilor Doty.
And then we'll add the 2 agenda items to it with the EDA conveyance and the Iron Range Culture and Tourism grant.
Let's see, any further discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Godey,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. So that passes. Just to note, I was just talking to Councilor Hess, as the acting mayor. I think it would be best if he chaired that meeting. I'll be participating by Zoom from Duluth.
Oh, we'll have to get a location for
Yeah.
where you're gonna do it. Okay, that's fine.
And Luke, I'll use the same location that I'm in now.
Okay, sounds good.
Doesn't want to talk then.
Okay, any other matters?
No, now we can go to the closed.
All right,
portion.
so then pursuant to Minnesota statutes 13D.03, I believe it's appropriate for us to move into a closed meeting session. Council, do we have to do that by motion or?
Yeah, do it by motion, and you have to indicate what why you're going into closed meeting, which I assume would be the two contracts that are before the
Right,
council.
two labor agreement matters, and so it's under that statute. And let's see, is there a motion to move into the closed session?
Do I have to leave?
I'll make,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to make one public comment before I leave.
Okay.
Okay, it's about the recycling at Flagship. And this is kind of like a public, because everybody talks to, when are you guys gonna be able to move it back into Aurora? It's making it hard for older people.
I think the intent all along was once the water plant is done being constructed, we'd be able to get it up there once we've got more room up there.
Okay, so it'll be another 2 years then going up there.
2026, spring of.
Yeah.
No other places you could figure. I know that you're concerned about garbage.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's it.
But could it have like a cameras there to
Well,
watch?
What we would like to do is take funds out of the sanitation fund and have actual attendant and posted hours and a locked gate and whatnot. And maybe we run it opposite of what White Lakes is doing or something, so we got more availability for everybody. But we'd like to have it so it's ran correctly rather than just a bin out there and you got pizza boxes and everything. So
Carpet and
yeah,
garden hoses. People were throwing everything in there.
so and that was the problem is we thought about Pine Grove Park, thought about Dolan Field, we thought about other places, and we just up there. Those guys are always up there monitoring and picking up stuff. So we do realize that there's hurt there, but I think that was always our intent, is to do it right and get it back once there's all those construction trailers are out of there.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
right, yeah, no, I understand
So-
that, that's just asking.
Yep,
No,
that's the thought.
And it probably increases the tipping fees, right? Because I assume some people give up on the recycling and
Yeah.
put it in their trash.
Yeah.
Appreciate your comments as always, Mr. Segler. So, now I believe we concluded any other matters there, and I had started the process of moving us into a closed meeting, and we had a motion from Councilor Hanson, I think.
No.
No. No.
Do we have a
I had
motion?
one yet.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you one.
Councilor Hanson, moving to go into closed session. Is there support?
I'll support that.
Supported by Councilor Hanson. Seeing no further discussion, can we have a roll call vote on moving into a closed session for purposes of labor contract discussion?
Yeah, because it's.
Councilor Godey? Councilor Godey, we're voting to get into closed session.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
See ya.
McClosich,
yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. All
Other
right, so
question.
we are in closed session.
Other question.
We're back in formal open session. And I believe that on the basis of the discussions we had related to labor matters, probably, I guess we go back to 16.1 first, the old business.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so this deals with the city administrator's employment agreement, and we had discussions about that and entertain a motion to approve the offer and of the city administrator's contract, subject to the changes and additions that are indicated in the city administrator's proposed terms from, what was that, late December, something, that has been shared with the council and been the basis for our discussions. And with the understanding that those terms would then be incorporated into a clean draft, which then could be formally approved and at a later date. Does that seem satisfactory?
Yeah, we can clean it up and then bring it back up at the next meeting.
Right. So is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed administrator's contract for 25 9% increase, 26 5% increase, and a $10,000 bonus for work performed in 2024.
And the other terms.
And the other terms as listed under Article 6 and Article 8.
All right, is there support for that? Support from Councilor Hanson. Further discussion? I guess other than to express the council's deep and appreciation, for all that you've done. So, let's see. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Doty,
Yes.
Klosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. All right. Well, we're looking forward to your continued presence here, and we'll expeditiously put together the agreement there so that the motion passes. Now, moving on to agenda item 17.9, the local 49 union contract. The council did discuss that in closed session, and we have a clean version of that proposed agreement.
I would make a motion to entertain a 1-year contract with employees in the 49 local 49 engineers for a contract from January 1st, 25 through December 2025.
To not just entertain, but actually approve the proposed contract. All right. That motion was made by Councilor Hess. Is there some support from Councilor Doty? Any further discussion on the labor agreement? All right, so we'd be actually approving then a clean copy of that agreement as contained in the agenda packet. All right, so could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Doty,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. All right, so the union contract as drafted is approved, and there's with it, I assume, the authority for the city administrator and myself to execute it.
Yes.
So, let's see, do we have any other business that we haven't attended to? We discussed having another meeting on Friday afternoon. at
Just
1.
meeting dates to be announced.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so that meeting date, it would be the 10th? Or what is it?
Friday, January 10th at 1 o'clock.
At 1 o'clock in the council chambers with participation of myself and Councilor McCloskey by Zoom, and with our acting mayor, Councilor Hess, presiding over the meeting.
With 2 issue items, correct?
Yes. The IRRB Culture and Tourism Grant and the conveyance of the land to the EDA. 2 resolutions.
Do we need that in terms of a motion?
No, we already
We've done
did
that. Yep. We're
We
just,
did
we're
that,
just
okay, all right. So, I don't believe there's any other business?
Nope.
Nope, all right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that.
I'll make that motion.
We'll get support.
The record will note there was some hesitancy there. I'm really getting so much done here. So who ended up moving it? Councilor McCloskey?
Yep.
All right, and supported by Councilor Goy.
Yep.
All right, seeing no further discussion, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Doty,
Yes.
McClosich,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Gregor.
Yes. So we stand adjourned until
Friday.
Friday afternoon.
I wanted to see